Good afternoon all and welcome back to the KC Racing channel and another midweek outlook. Obviously these episodes have done alright the last couple of weeks with plenty of winners coming from them, so hopefully there's a few more lined up in the midweeks on the novice front that we can point out in this episode. There's not as many as there was last week, I'll put that for one, and secondly I'm only doing up till Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because Friday's Cheltenham and there'll be a separate video for Cheltenham coming up on Wednesday. So we start on Tuesday tomorrow after some recording. Where we got Hereford. There's a couple of Hereford, Lingfield and Taunton. The 3 meetings tomorrow, and there's one from each. First is in the 1 o'clock, the 2 mile novice hurdle, and it's a race to base for Nigel Twiston-Davies. It was fifth in that Utopster race, which was won by Ontompu Tomp. Finished fifth that day. Obviously, I think he needs 2 mile 4 race to base, so I backed him that day. It looked like he was going really well, turning in and just didn't quite have the speed to go with the rest of them. But the form of that race has really turned out well. Tip Top Tom, who went off favourite that day, has won last time out. Obviously, long odds on over the weekend. He won, and the fourth has won as well at Aintree. So the form looks decent, but like I said, bet poor caution if you are going to back race today. So I think he will be best seen over 2.5 miles, which by the looks of it, they're going to be going more than handicap route. We shall see how he gets on tomorrow. 12:42 at Lingfield is the next race I'm going to touch on. Another novice hurdle, this time over 2 mile 4. And it's Manila Marathon for the Skeltons. Now, they've already had 2 decent novice hurdle winners today up at Carlisle before I record this, with My Daddy Paddy and Real Quartz going in really nicely. Looked some decent prospects. And this boy, for Ronnie Bartlett, could be a decent prospect as well. Winner of the point-to-point goes here. Harry Skelton has come to the Lingfield to ride properly. This horse is probably the main reason he's coming. I'd like to see, and the fact that he's starting over 2 mile 4, he's plenty of staying in his pedigree. I like to think that he will get the job done nicely tomorrow. Probably won't be much of a price, and then move on to bigger and better things later on down in the season. And the other one I want to touch on, for those that follow me on X will know I've already mentioned this horse, and it runs in the 126 at Taunton, I think it is. No, Huntington, sorry, tomorrow. And the horse is Blue Betty for Fergal O'Brien, winner of an all-weather bumper at Newcastle, won it very stylishly under Keelan Woods. Then was saved for the Aintree bumper where she finished down the field. I think she was 13th or 14th, so a bit of a disappointing run. They probably were expecting more of her, but she goes novice hurdling starting tomorrow. A bit of another one for caution, obviously. Plenty of stables. The Skeltons, obviously, this year, and Fergal O'Brien as well. A lot of them seem to be running their first race, look to be learning on the job, especially over hurdles, likely to be held up. So just bet with caution in regards to that. But she looks a definite nice type going hurdling. I can see her winning plenty of races this season. We then move on to Wednesday, and I get very excited when I come to this because the first race I'm going to touch on is the 2 o'clock, the Novice Chase for mares, listed race. Joyeuse is favourite in here, the Betfair hurdle winner for Nicky Henderson and JP McManus. But my eyes drawn, and anybody who follows me know exactly which horse I'm going to mention now. It's Diva Luna. Point-to-point winner. She done brilliantly over hurdles last year. Probably her best at 2 mile 4, but she's run some decent races over 2 miles. Obviously, she won at Cheltenham all in December. Or was it New Year's Day? I can't remember which one it was. And then was third in the in the mares novice at the festival. Didn't run too bad a race at Aintree, but I think that was one race too many. I just think she's going to be even better when it comes to going over fences. I'm really excited to see how she gets on Wednesday. She's currently in their second favourite, 2-1. I won't be having a bet on her in novice chase. Let's just see how she gets on. But I'm really keen. I have quietly mentioned to a few people that I might actually fancy it for the Mare's Chase. I think that might be the route that Ben takes with her, especially with a few of the other novices that he's got lined up this season for the Browns and the Arkle, etc. She looks a good fit for the Mare's Chase. And one other to touch on at Bangor on D, and it's in the 3:30, the novice hurdle, and it's a horse that I've mentioned on a couple of the episodes so far and hasn't actually run yet, and it's Order of the Day for Ollie Murphy. Now has actually been declared. I mentioned a few in the last episode. He was entered in a couple of races but never was declared. Two bumper seconds last season in decent races at Market Raising and Weatherby. Could see him quite high up in the pecking order. I know they had a decent one run today in Harbour Island and finished second to my daddy Paddy. Same colours, the Whately colours, could be a decent prospect. This Order of the Day. We then go over to Newcastle, another exciting novice chase over there, where we only a few runners. I think there's 5 runners in the race, but Derry Hassan Paddy is in here. Obviously was entered up at Newcastle. Last Thursday, didn't run in that. Comes here instead. Obviously third in the Albert Bartlett last year. Looks built for chasing. They're really excited to send him chasing. And like the odds suggest that they've already booked a price to book up for this race, and he's 8-13. I won't be having a bet on that, especially not with a couple of others in here. Gamester's Guy, who a few have mentioned for the Guerrero and Greenall stable, looks like it could be a decent animal over fence as well. I'd like to see where he ranks against Derry Hassan Paddy. And 6 Mile Bridge has also been declared for here now. Word of warning, he obviously has been pulled twice in the last 2 weeks, where he's been declared. Obviously, one of those being the walkover on Saturday, where he was meant to run, but they pulled him out due to the ground. And then the 3:20 at Newcastle, the novice hurdle. Couple in here to touch on. You've got Kent de Tie for Mecca Menzies. Was given a good mention when I spoke to her about horses to follow for the year. Was meant to run at Carlisle today, but it was a non-runner due to the ground. So hopefully the rain that we've got, and hopefully a bit of a cut in the ground, will see this horse run. And Eugene Royale, who I put up as a selection at Chepstow in the opening maiden hurdle on the Chepstow October meeting, the first meeting, the Persian Wall meeting. This horse obviously was an eye-catching run, despite he was going really well when hampered by a fall at 2 out. Stayed on in the hands and heels to finish 9th, but I think there's a lot more to come from this boy, and I think he could go close, and if we get a bit of a price, I might have a dip in him. Currently for the Tom Lacey stable, that's Eugene Royale. And then move on to Thursday. Just a couple more races to touch on. The first one is the Mare's Maiden Hurdle up at Sedgefield, the 2:35, where Rose All the Way is in here for Donald McCain, placed in bumpers last year before running down the field in that Aintree bumper that I mentioned earlier with Blue Betty running. They got high prospects for her. Her and Court of Vermont is the 2 horses that Donald said to me was going to be the 2 horses to keep on side for the year in the novice ranks. He thinks a lot of them. Obviously, Donald needs a few horses to get him back on the map, as it were. He's not been in the best of places in regards to training the last couple of years, but hopefully Rose All the Way could win this and look pretty impressive and hopefully get him back on the map. And the other one in the race, again from the Greenall and Guerrero stable, is Achara. He was in at Bangor, but they've decided to not declare him for that. Whether that be the case here as well is unknown, but he's a decent winner of a point-to-point. Comes here and likely to be hopefully a decent prospect over hurdles this season. And then one race to touch on at Market Raising. 2 races at Market Raising, and that's the end of the episode. We've got the 12:07, the maiden hurdle, where is this for real for Fergal O'Brien is in here, won a Kelso bumper, but they have said that this horse is going to need 2 mile 4 when I spoke to Fergal for the stable tour. Now this is only 2 miles, so you'd like to think that he's going to probably get the educational ride, should we say, from the back coming through. If he's good enough, he'll win. If he's good in the first time up, he'll win, but we shall see what happens. But yeah, he'll be a watching brief for me. The one I am very much interested in this race, if he does turn up, is Japatus of Nicky Richards, winner of 2 bumpers at Newcastle and Hexham last year. But they're really fond of this lad at Nicky's. They think he's going to be a decent prospect over hurdles this season. Again, another one that could need it further in time, but he's got plenty of speed from where he wanted bumpers. He was decent enough speed there, but he would be very interesting for me if he was to run here. And then the other one, who's actually entered for both races, the next one I'm going to touch on as well, is Moon Over America for the Twist and Davis stable. Second in a bumper at Foss Last, that was to Harbour Island, that ran today. Was entered up last week but wasn't declared. This could be a potential starting point for him. He's in both this race and the other division, so you'd like to think he's going to take his chance in one of those. And speaking of the second division, the 1242, the last was I'm going to touch on another one from Virgil O'Brien is White Riot. Third on debut at Uttoxeter, over 2 miles. Step up in trip to 2 mile 4 for this race. You'd like to think that that's going to suit him down to the ground. Whether or not he's just a handicapper waiting to happen, and they'll see after this what mark he gets once he's done this run. We shall see what comes of that. But there's plenty to look out for on the next couple of days in the novice ranks. Obviously, the 2 standouts to me are Diva Luna and Derry Hassan Paddy. I really can't wait to see both of them run on Wednesday. Thanks for joining, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of content coming this week. I'm going to have videos Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all for the 3 days at Cheltenham. Race by race guides and all that. So, plenty going on. But hopefully you all have a good day today, guys. And happy punting to you all.